you explain what FEMSA does and how its operations are going to be affected by climate change?
Thank you very much for this opportunity. Well, FEMSA, as you know, is a big multinational corporation which has three main businesses. One is particularly in the area of beverages, and the other is in services provided by convenience store chain. Throughout what we have done throughout our history, we have 126 years of history. We have always centered ourselves in this belief that we have to create value, both economically and socially and environmentally at the same time. This has been like the core DNA of our company. So for us, dealing with nature and dealing with challenges of nature like climate change, it is truly important. We have to understand what are going to be the impacts, for example, of the overall climate change throughout the world, to understand that it affects the operations of the company, but it also affects the way we relate to society. So in that respect, I would like to point out the effort that we are doing along with the Global Environmental Facility, with GEF, in this fifth annual meeting of GEF. We are also showing the advances that we started back in 2011 when we devised a strategy to make efforts of the society align towards the betterment of a watershed. This is called the water funds. And the water funds have been very successful throughout Latin America to pinpoint the necessities of the watershed, the efforts that need to be done, and by whom those efforts have to be done. Everyone wins taking care of the watershed. So for us, water funds is like a communication strategy, if you wish, that connects people downstream in the watershed to the people that live upstream in the watershed. We have to make them on the parts that produce, or is like the factory of water, acknowledge the importance of the work upstream, take care of their production, and of course help them to improve their quality of life. And the people downstream that live in cities recognize the value that nature provides to them. And water funds is precisely that mechanism of partnership, joining efforts, planning activities, and then funding them and putting the resources for them. So from the beginning we launched, from 2011 we have launched up to now 17 water funds in Mexico, Central America, Colombia, Venezuela, Brazil, even Peru and Chile. And today those 17 water funds are beginning to deliver resources to the betterment of the catchment, of the water catchment of the. And I think the beauty of that is that we need to return to nature everything that nature provides us every single day to us. And by doing so, making it more resilient for the watershed to, defend itself from climate change in a way. So it's more of this, it's not a strategy of diversion, it's a study of mitigation of the effects. For us, the climate change pattern will increase the amount of flooding in some places of the earth and of drought in another. So we need to find the correct balance so that society doesn't suffer. And that's pretty much the goal of the water funds.
Do you think businesses at large are succeeding in reevaluating the meaning of value so that it doesn't just...
Natural capital, for example. I think they are moving in that direction. I think the 21st century is going to be the century of recognizing on the balance sheets natural capital value. And in that moment, more of the decisions that come from the private corporate world will incorporate the value of nature in their actions. And that will be fantastic because we are not going to continue with this tradition of helping nature by philanthropic goals, but we will be helping nature by investment goals, which will yield results and help us all be better off at the end.
Do you think your business is receiving the policy certainty it needs to really invest in sustainable options?
I think this is more far than policy incentives. I think this is more of conviction. And I think most of the countries are beginning to enact some public policies regarding natural capital, which my concern is that they don't inhibit the spontaneous voluntary actions that are being taken care of right now, but help them, foster them, nourish them. Sometimes too much regulation will stop certainty. Sometimes certainty requires freedom, innovation, and water funds are a mechanism that allow everybody to pitch in, to help in their own capabilities, in their own knowledge, and provide a better solution than one that will be followed by regulations. Some of this is the effort of recognizing that water is the same, is the same that we have had forever, and that managing correctly, both in the watershed and in the normal uses of society, will help yield a better future for all.
Are you planning on playing a role at the summit hosted by Ban Ki-moon in September alongside the UN General Assembly?
Well, that would be interesting, but I think it is more on GEF to participate, or the World Bank. What we are contributing is putting examples on the table so that they know that private sector could be a very important means towards achieving the goals developed by UN.